one planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's grace than when we first begun.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, showing up for my show this week because last week I had technical difficulties, and I'm showing I'm not afraid to wear my mask. Of course, this was custom made for me. Of course, it's a Star Wars mask, but not ashamed to wear my mask to protect others during this time. And I hope that you're wearing your mask too and staying safe, staying healthy, staying properly informed. Today we're going to have a great show. We're going to remember all those that have served in Memorial Day weekend. I've got my Memorial Day nature hat on. These are actually trees to represent nature. I've got my Rise of the Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker t-shirt on just to commence. Star Wars came out May 25th, 1977, and this is actually the 9th film that completed the cycle. So we're going to be talking about a few things today, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in for today's show. I hope that you're enjoying this Memorial Day weekend wherever you're at in the world, and whatever you are doing, whether you're out and enjoying it. We're not out here in Seattle because it's actually raining. And as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid, it always seemed to rain on Memorial Day, and we always say that is those in heaven, those in the etheric world, those veterans, those that have served, are crying and shedding their tears. And so it's a rainy day here in Seattle, and I'm just going to take a second to honor our veterans, both those that have served, those that are serving, those that are retired, those that are now in spirit. Because without Memorial Day, without people that serve, without that, freedom isn't free, guys. And I always remind people, I feel like I've been doing this show for a couple years now, and I remind people that freedom is not free and it comes with great sacrifice. So I'm going to take a second just to honor those, but I'm also going to throw in to today's show a big shout out to our heroes of healthcare. That's what I've been referring to them as, our heroes of healthcare. And of course, those on the front lines, the essential workers, grocery store, U.S. mail, delivery, food chain, railroad, truck drivers, everybody that keeps the system going. I want to just say thank you, thank you, thank you. I see you, I honor you, I acknowledge you, and I do thank you for your service. So this morning we're going to be talking about three things. We're going to be talking about pathways to healing. We're going to be talking about Star Wars, and we're going to be talking about Memorial Day. And you may have noticed I played The Amazing Grace. That is a royalty-free song, so hopefully it doesn't get taken down on Facebook. But it is a royalty-free song that I played just to honor our Memorial Day weekend. I have put a few links in. If you are around today, later this morning at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be going live on Zoom. I put the link in the comment section for those that are interested. We're going to be doing a Level Up series with Demetrius Davis Wright out of Norway. We're banding together to bring this inspirational series to you. That is free. The Zoom link is in the comment section, so if you want to participate, that'll be 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. We'll be doing that, so I hope that you'll join us for Leveling Up. And also want to let you know that I'm doing a World Environment event of healing and meditation through the Spiritual National Union. That's going to be, it's called World Environment Day, and that's Friday, June 5th, and it will be at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, 6:30 GM Greenwich Mean Time, which is over in London time. So I'm looking forward to speaking at that World Environment Day. It's for my first, as an SNU member, as a Spiritual National Union member, it's my first event publicly speaking through the SNU. It'll be more information at SNU, so SNUI, which is international.org. You can go to marclainhart.com as well and get that information if you so like. But two events coming up, one June 5th, so a little bit from now, and then later today, Level Up with Demetrius Davis Wright via Zoom. So I hope that you will join us. So with that, let's talk about today. Let's talk about Memorial Day. Again, a big thank you to all members of our military and all branches of service, past and present, living, and those that have passed on. We have a new branch of service. Some of you may have seen from the recent news. We have Space Force, which, if you follow history past, you know that the Army was the Army, but then a branch of that became the Air Force because we started to have planes, we started to have air superiority and wanted to defend our airspace, so that's how the Air Force was created. And it makes sense that we move into the next level of space our satellites, our International Space Station, to protect and to guard. And so I want to add Space Force into our new branch of military service as well. But thank you to all military, both past and present, serving active duty, and those that have served. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So everybody take a nice deep collective breath with me. Let's move into the magic of the moment, and let's talk about some pathways to healing. Again, we're going to have the Healing Cafe at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It follows right after Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I do apologize for last week. I was having all sorts of technical difficulties with my Wi-Fi, with my iPhone, and it got to the point where I'm like, sometimes you just got to take a break, and sometimes you just can't go online and do your inspirational show. But the Healing Cafe will start on time at 8:30 this morning. I'll be doing live readings, free chats, Q&A. And again, if you guys feel like you're getting something from these shows, or you feel like it isn't enough to inspire you, to encourage you, to guide you, to think outside the box, to live your best life possible, please do me a big favor and just add a testimonial to any of my professional directories. You can find me at Best American Psychics. You can find me at Best Psychic Directory. You can find me at FamousPsychicMediums.com. It's just a way to be a storyteller, and I always encourage people. I'll put one link for my directory at Best American Psychics and Best Psychic Directory to leave a review, just for the fact that I think we should all be storytellers, and we need to inspire each other, especially in this day and age. It's just so amazing how political things have become and so divided it's become. But I'm going to go back to my psychic predictions of what I talked about on January 8th in my podcast of Inspired Living Radio. Self-mastery, sustainability, and a great coming together. I still see that. I do see great, more trials and tribulations coming, especially for the United States of America, the United States. But in the end, I do see a great coming together. And I wanted just to read a passage just to remind everybody. This comes from a very famous book. It's a book that I followed. It's a book that I raised my hand to defend. And it's just a reminder. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Now you'll notice in this book, and I carry it, it's kind of my little Bible, because again, I made an oath. How many of you have made an oath in your life to defend or to stand up for something? Maybe you made an oath for marriage. Maybe you made an oath to serve in the military. These brave people that make an oath to serve with the ultimate sacrifice is literally like writing a blank check to give your life. I can tell you I served 8 years in the Coast Guard, and my body is not the same from what I did in those 8 years. But you'll notice in this book it says nothing about politics. In this book there is nothing about Republican Party, Democratic Party, Independent Party. This is about the United States of America. And today on Memorial Day, to remember our veterans, I'll just remind people to come together, to be kind, caring, and compassionate, and find civility. Don't get caught up in what you see in social media. Don't get caught up in what you see in the news media, because all it's doing is creating divide. And we understand that a country divided will not stand. And I don't want to see that for anybody, my neighbors. It's always important to have a different perspective, of course, in life, and freedom of speech, of course. But you can always be kind during great trials and tribulations. That's the thing that I found in my spiritual path. And you'll notice in the opening page of the Constitution of the United States, the opening page, it talks about form a more perfect union. That's what we're trying to do. Democracy is an experiment, guys. It's not guaranteed. But if we try and we show up and we do this together, we can establish a more perfect union. Establish justice. Ensure domestic tranquility. What does domestic tranquility look like to you? I just read this as a reminder. It's, especially with everything that's going on in the world, the chaos, the division, the upheaval. And this just kind of brought me back to civics, and it brought me back to why I served in the United States Coast Guard, to bring about that message of domestic tranquility and a union for everybody, a place that we can call home, respecting our planet. I'm a big fan of nature. It's one of the spiritual truths of the SNU, light, nature, and truth. And I find that nature's teaching us a very big lesson. I'm just hoping that we're going to learn from this, and we're going to listen as we sit in quarantine and as the planet heals to regain balance. So happy Memorial Day to you. I just wanted to throw that message in there. if you guys follow my work, then you know that I am a huge Star Wars nerd. So today, May 25th, 1977, is when the first Star Wars movie came out. I have since then put new batteries in my lightsaber. So this is my Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber. And I just want to encourage you to say the Force is with you today. That Force, I know it's a movie, and I know that it's a Hollywood film, but the concept and the message of the living force, the energy that binds us and brings us all together, that's real from a metaphysical standpoint. There is a true energy, the energy that beats in your heart, the energy that is in your environment. One of my favorite quotes comes from George Lucas when he says, "Your focus determines your reality." And I found that to be very, very true. So I just want to say happy Memorial Day. May the Force be with you. Today is the day that Star Wars was actually launched via films. It's been around now my entire life. I think I was 5 years old when it came out. Yeah, I was 5. No, wait, let's see, 77. Yeah, I was 6. 5. I was 5. I had to think about that for a sec. So Star Wars has been my whole life, really, including the last movie that just finished up. So I love the imagination. I love the creativity. I love the escape of getting lost in a galaxy far, far away. So today is a very powerful day as we honor our veterans and those that have passed on into the spirit world. We're honoring Star Wars just because there is a living force, the force of your soul, the force of your heart, and that force moves, that energy moves. We know the laws of physics teaches us that nothing stays stagnant, nothing stays spinning. Energy always has to move forward. That's why I always believe that there's a physical world and there's the etheric, unseen world. The work I do as a medium, as a spiritualist, as an inspirational teacher and coach is to inspire, but also to guide and educate. That the energy that's in your heart has to go somewhere. It doesn't just hang out. That's why I don't believe in ghosts and hauntings. I believe there's residual energy of that, of course, based what's left in the physical world. But the energy in the soul always has to move on, and that is your force. That is your human energy field, your auric field, or your force from Star Wars. So I just want to say, a couple quotes have come to mind today to remind us of our connectivity, our community. Especially in a time that seems to have lost its way. We'll look back on this in history, and especially for the younger generations that may be tuning into today's show, they'll look back at history and just shake their heads going, what were they thinking? What were they doing? Why such upheaval? Why such great division? In one of the quotes that really came from into my mind, and I spoke about this yesterday at my church service at Tower Memorial, and it's a quote from David Mitchell from the movie Cloud Atlas, and it says, "Our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb we are bound to others, past and present, and by each crime and every kindness we birth our future." And what that kind of just resonated with me, with each crime and every kindness we birth our future. So for me, I always say be kind, caring, and compassionate. It's not always easy, especially just smile in the face of somebody that's being mean or being a bully. But I'm trying to birth my future, whether it's soul growth, whether, I know that I came here first as an energy, as a soul, to have a human experience. And if that's to grow my soul, so the next experience I have, whether it's through reincarnation or I get to go to heaven and just hang out for the rest of my life, whatever life that is. But I found that through that journey, through that kindness, I am birthing my future. And, the future is never guaranteed. I always talk about the magic in the moment. Somebody that's watched death professionally, my own near-death experience, and now personally with great loss within my families and friends and fur babies. I realized that, grief is of two parts. And grief is first the loss that you go through and the experiences and the changes. And some of you right now may be going through loss. Maybe it's a loss from this COVID-19. I know I've talked to a few people that have lost people personally through COVID-19. Maybe it's just the isolation of not being able to say goodbye or have a proper burial for some of you that are watching today. And I've realized when we honor our grief, I know that it comes in two stages. The first is that loss, and then the second is the remaking of your life. Remaking to become the Intuitive Prospector, to have a show to connect with you, to inspire, to do a radio show, to give readings from people around the world. This is not the life that I saw for myself. I thought I'd retire as a firefighter, to be honest with you, until the injury set me in a different direction. But I understand from the great loss now that it does come in two parts. There's the loss itself that you experience, and then what you decide to do, your free will and your choice to remake a life that's worth living, carpe diem, and seizing the day every single day, not knowing what the future is going to bring. And it kind of brings to mind what Shakespeare talked about. And Shakespeare talked about to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Ah, there's the rub. For in this sleep of death, what dreams may come. And so today, I wanted just to remind you of the sacrifice that people have made for you to enjoy, to wake up and watch this show. The freedom, the umbrella of freedom, that freedom is not free, and we're always being attacked. And whether you see it or not, whether you're a first responder or serving in our military, you know what I'm talking about. And I thank you for serving, because without your service, we would not be who we are today. And I hope that we move forward into a place of healing as a country, as a species, as a people. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you before I run out of time here, because I only got about 8 minutes, I want to get you your totem animal spirit, your crystal, and your numerology number for the week. But I wanted to talk about pathways of healing as well. And I'll be talking about this on the Level Up Zoom series coming up at 11:30 a.m. So make sure to go to marklainhart.com or check out the link that I posted, or get on my YouTube channel as well. So lots of great YouTube channels, lots of shows, my spiritual takeouts over there. You can follow me on Instagram as well under Marc Lainhart, or Inspired for Us. That's the number 4 to get my spiritual takeout, where I do fun little exercises, meditations, might be mediumship. You never know. But what I talk about pathways to healing. A lot of us right now know something needs to change, and I call that conscious awareness. I call that cognitive intuition. Intuition is understanding the language of your soul. Cognitive is the ability to learn to make a logical, rational decision. And I would say for a lot of us right now, what we're seeing before our eyes, what we're hearing with our own ears. And again, I'm not a politician. I'm not into politics. I'm a spiritualist. I don't follow religion. I believe in all religions. I just believe that religion is one record with many different truths on it, depending on where you're raised in the world. And I don't follow politics anymore, just for the fact that I'm a constitutionalist. And one of the things, as far as conscious awareness or cognitive intuition, is to discern and to decipher all the stuff that's coming at you. We got a lot of stuff coming at us, guys. Misinformation, television, remember, tell-a-vision. So depending on what you're watching, that is the narrative, that is the story. And I would remind people to use cognitive intuition to discern, to make an informed decision, what feels right to you, but also have conscious awareness. And in the healing pathways, that's telling yourself, that voice, that internal voice that we all have and we all have heard, is something needs to change. Something needs to change with whatever's going on in culture, whatever's going on in nature, whatever's going on with our planet. We know something needs to change. But as we move along these pathways of healing, we also have to take self-responsibility. It's always easy to put it on somebody else. It's always easy to blame somebody. And I find when somebody points the finger out, there's one finger out, 3 fingers pointing back at that person. We see a lot of blame in today's society. And I remind people to take self-responsibility, because that's also part of self-mastery and sustainability for your life. And that's the pathway of saying, I need to change myself. A lot of people forget to change themselves. They just want to go out into the world and not look at what they haven't done, or have grown, or changed, or transformed, or ascended, or gone through that refiner's fire of alchemy, and going through some of the personal struggles and addressing your own pathways. But it's a need to change myself. And as we go on this pathway of healing, we know that something is needing to change. We know that we need to change ourselves, and we do that through conscious awareness, cognitive intuition. We do that through self-responsibility. Then we move into that self-forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves in order to move forward. In order to let go, that's what we need to do to move forward. When we create that space, and if that space is filled up with your past and the things you didn't do, or the things you wish you did, then it's not giving you the opportunity to create new space. And so you have to literally say to yourself, I forgive myself, so you can move on that pathway to healing. I'm going to be talking about this in Level Up in the Zoom coming up. I'm going to use a technique called the FAR technique to help with healing and to address what's going on every day as something is coming at us new every day. And as we continue on our pathways to healing, I find it very important to ground ourselves, because it's so easy to get spun up on everything that you're seeing, whether it's a 24-hour news cycle, which wasn't always the case, whether it's through social media, people being mean behind a keyboard, or just, the Twitter wars that I see going on. It's just amazing to me. So disconnect from that, get grounded, get out into nature. Nature right now is our greatest teacher, our greatest healer, our greatest inspirer, our greatest engineer, and she's teaching us a lot right now. And so I find that when I can ground myself in pathways to healing, I can say, I feel safe, I feel supported, and I know that Mother Nature is going to help me on that pathway as well. So grounding, whether it's a salt bath or aromatherapy or sage or holding a crystal, or just hanging out and talking with your family or hanging with your mentor, reading a book, whatever is grounding for you, I find that when you say that I feel safe and supported and you're grounding, that helps with your pathways to healing. And of course, you get to that point where you've gone through conscious awareness, you've gone through self-responsibility, you've gone through your own self-forgiveness, you've grounded to what's going on, knowing that you can't change some of the things that are going on around you, but you can, be in control of how you respond to the things. Then that takes you to, the apex of the healing pathway, and that is joy, peace, happiness. And you can really say to yourself, I'm ready to shine. I've found that this spiritual journey that I share with you, I'm always open and curious. That's why I named my company the Intuitive Prospector, because I'm always searching for that spiritual gold, that spiritual transformation, that spiritual healing. And not just through psychic, not just through mediumship, but through meditations, through metaphysics, through motivation, through inspiration, through encouragement. I think it encompasses a lot of different modalities. So I just wanted to share that with you today. The pathways to healing, honor Star Wars. I hope that you are enjoying your cup of coffee. I'll get a drink here real quick. Got to keep my energy up because we're going to get into the Healing Cafe. Again, my apologies last week. Technical difficulties with both my Wi-Fi and my phone. Didn't want to work, but today it's working. I tested it out. So today, the totem animal spirit is going to be... I have to pick it. I forgot to pick it. It's going to be the raccoon. So when the raccoon shows up, in spite of any doubts you may have, the resources you need for the current situation are readily available. The raccoon. If you want to have a crystal for the week, the crystal that I picked for this week is called Prenite. Prenite is easily obtained from specialty stores. It comes out of South Africa. It's a crystal that is of unconditional love. And I figured we need something of unconditional love right now, especially with what's going on before us. At times I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone, guys, to be honest with you. And again, it's not rhetoric, it's not conspiracy theory. It's literally things I see with my own eyes and what I hear with my own ears. And then I have to make an informed decision and use cognitive intuition to be like, okay, what is that? Why did that person just say that? Or why is that person doing that? So the Prenite, it's spelled Prehnite, Prenite. It comes from South Africa, but it's a stone of unconditional love and the crystal to heal the healer. So for any of you that are healers out there, it's a good stone to have within your repertoire of crystals to help with your healing and the spiritual journey, especially if you're a healer. So Prenite is your stone for this week. And when you know it, I picked the card from numerology, and the card was nature. Nature, the number is 74. 7 is the spiritual number. 4 is the year that we're in. We're in the year of the 2020, which is a master builder year. In order to be a master builder, you got to tear down old stuff in order to build anew. And I feel like that's what we're exactly doing in this year. I'm not saying it's easy. It is painful. I know some of you have maybe lost your job, or some of you have been directly impacted by COVID, or you have a family member that's on the healthcare front lines. Our heroes of healthcare is what I call them. But great chaos is usually, great change is usually preceded by great chaos. And if you go through history past, the influenza flu of 1918, we know that it lasted 2 years. This COVID will be with us for some time. But in the end, guys, I'm going to stay with what I predicted. The great coming together, self-mastery, and sustainability. What are you doing to have sustainability? What are you doing to self-master your mindset, your life, your relationships while you're in quarantine? What are you doing during this time? Because great things can happen. And again, the great coming together that I see for the planet. And again, it might change even from the United States of America, but I do see a great change coming and a great coming together. But it will also bring trials and tribulations and more people moving into the spirit world, the etheric world, unfortunately. But your card for this week is 74, which adds up to 11, which is a master number of teaching in numerology. the nature is the color green, which is also connected to the heart, but it also is the seeking truth, finding truth, and also in the Master Builder Year of 4, which is also representation of self-love. So the raccoon is your totem animal spirit. Prehnite is your crystal. Your numbers for this week is 7 and 4, or the number 11 as a spiritual number. Also to pay respect to nature. We're in quarantine right now because we have not been good stewards. We've come from a place of ego, not ego, and it's going to take time to get back into balance, as planet is literally showing us with the articles I read around the world of what's going on. From cleaner water, dolphins bringing gifts, wild dolphins bringing gifts to humans on shore, flamingos flying into the Venice canals, the Himalayas being seen for the first time in 30 years. I mean, there's just story after story of positivity out there as well. And that's what I would encourage you to do, is to gravitate and resonate and percolate with inspiration, encouragement, motivations, healing. And again, you can join me at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The link is over at marclainhart.com. I'll put it again in the comment section. If you want to join me at 11:30 to level up, I'm going to be hanging out with Hormitris Davis Wright in Norway. And then again on June 5th is going to be National Environment Day, where I'm going to be doing some motivational speaking. And I also have a great show coming up this Wednesday. So make sure to check out the podcast over on Home Times Radio, because I have a really cool guest coming in. I don't want to give too much away, but check Inspired Living Radio for more information. The write-up will be coming out today if you're not on that page, Inspired Living Radio, which is my radio page and podcast through Home Times Radio, iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, YouTube, marclainhart.com. And I'm just going to leave you with this quote. Again, the one quote that came up: "Our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb, we are bound to others, past and present, and by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future." And that is very true. And of course, your focus determines your reality, as George Lucas reminds us. And last but not least, I'm just going to leave you with a very simple quote, especially with what's going on today. When people show you who they are, believe them. Maya Angelou reminds us of that. When people show you who they are, whether it's through social media, whether through the national media, whether it's in person, whether it's a family member or friend, when people show you who they are, believe them, guys. It'll make your pathways much more peaceful, joyful, and more healthier. So I want to just say thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Give me about 30 seconds to a minute so I can get queued up for the Healing Cafe, which starts right now. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and I'll see you for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, starting Monday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the Intuitive Prospector channel. Have a great day, everybody. Namaste.